Alright guys, we're doing this one time and one time only. I'm giving you guys every single AR that you could possibly need in Warzone 2 that is meta. So we're going to start out with the Cronen Squall for the Sakin Tread 40 muzzle, vertical and horizontal recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Tune it to gun kick control at 0.28 inches and the recoil stabilization at 0.59 ounces. By the way, if you saw this first part already, all I ask is that you guys comment your gamer tag and leave a like on this video because I'm giving away 3 battle passes. Now that anybody that sees this, you're in luck, but everybody else, you're out of luck. Anyway, we're going to continue with the HR 6.8 barrel for damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, and hip fire accuracy at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. Tune it for the damage range at 0.37 inches and set the recoil steadiness at 0.39 pounds. Put on the 6.8 high velocity for bullet velocity at the cost of damage range. Set the tuning to 8.71 GR for bullet velocity and the damage range at 0.50 G. 50 round drum for magazine ammo capacity unless you think it can handle 30. Feel free, it's up to you. Tune for aim op V4 precision sight. Go to the far distance. And this thing is pretty decent. Now, in my opinion, short to medium range is your sweet spot. Long range, it gets a little jumpy. Now, what you're going to do if you want to have control for long range is you're going to tilt your thumbstick to the bottom right, basically like that. So you see how the gun goes this way? That's how you control the recoil. So if you go long range, that's how easy it is. That's how you control the recoil. I know a lot of people are going to have issues long range, so I want to show you guys in real time. Next, we're going to move on to something that's easier than, honestly, the other weapon in the game that has no recoil and it has high damage, the ISO Hemlock. Harbinger D20 for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and aim walking speed. Tune the bullet velocity at 0.87 inches and the recoil smoothness at 0.54 ounces. Fielder T50 for damage range, bullet velocity, hip fire accuracy, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. Tune the damage range to 0.17 inches and the weight to 0.15 pounds for recoil steadiness. 5.56 high velocity for bullet velocity at the cost of damage range. Tune the bullet velocity at 5.81 GR and the damage range of 0.36 G. 45 round mag, I don't suggest anything else. Aim op V4, tune it far distance. Here's the end product. It literally takes no effort to use. Quite literally no effort to use. So when this new season comes out, this is most likely the weapon you're going to want to use unless they nerf it to the ground. Are they going to nerf it to the ground? Probably not. I mean, they've already tried to do that and they failed miserably. But another thing I do want to show you guys, I mean, it doesn't really classify as an AR, but I will show you guys the Sakin towards the end. Another thing I want to show you guys, though, is the TAC 56. Harbinger D20 for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and aim walking speed. Tune the bullet velocity at 0.81 inches and the recoil smoothness at 0.54 ounces. 17.5 Tundra Pro Barrel for damage range, hip fire accuracy, and bullet velocity at the cost of aim down sight speed and hip recoil control. Set the damage range to 0.21 inches and the recoil steadiness to 0.35 pounds. 5.56 high velocity for bullet velocity at the cost of damage range. Bullet velocity at 9 GR and damage range of 0.61 G. 60 round mag unless you want to handle 40. Completely up to you. You'll just get more movement speed, aim down sight speed, reload quickness, and sprint to fire speed. Aim op V4 for precision sight. Tune it to the far distance. And here's the test right here. This thing packs a punch. It has a little bit more recoil than the ISO Hemlock, but is very powerful. So if you want to have a very powerful AR, then in my opinion, this one is the move. Just because of how powerful it is per bullet, I think it's actually a great competitor. Now, like I said, you get a little bit more recoil, but I mean, like I said, Call of Duty guns don't really have that much recoil in the first place, so you're probably going to be in a good place if you use this. The next thing I do have to show you guys, though, is the STB. Now, the STB is a slept-on AR, but I'm glad that it's a slept-on AR because that means you guys can use it with little to no repercussions. So, what we're going to put on is the Harbinger D20 for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and aim walking speed. Tune the bullet velocity at 0.77 inches and the recoil smoothness to 0.99 ounces. With these tunings, try to get as close as possible. They don't have to be completely accurate, but try to get very close. 24.4 Brune S620 for damage range, bullet velocity, hip fire accuracy, and recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. Tune the damage range to 0.34 inches and the recoil steadiness to 0.40 pounds. Put on the 5.56 high velocity for bullet velocity at the cost of damage range. Tune the bullet velocity is 6.68 GR and the damage range of 0.38 G. 42 round mag, never use a single tap mod, you're just going to go outside. Aim op V4, tune it to the far distance. This thing's absolutely phenomenal at any distance. The only downside I would say is that long range has a little bit more recoil, so just keep that in mind. Next, we're moving on to the Kastov 545, since you guys seem to love that. I put on the Sakin Tread 40 for the vertical and horizontal recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Put the gun kick control to 0.19 inches and the recoil stabilization to 0.28 ounces. IGK30, 406 millimeter for bullet velocity, recoil control, damage range, and hipfire accuracy. Now you lose aim down sight speed, movement speed, and hip recoil control, but honestly, who cares? This is an AR. Tune the damage range to 0.31 inches and the recoil steadiness by 0.18 pounds. 5.45 high velocity for bullet velocity at the cost of damage range. Bullet velocity at 7.26 GR. Damage range at 0.23 G. 60 round mag unless you want to handle 45. Completely up to you. It's completely interchangeable, and I mean, it won't really change the experience that much. You'll just get a little more of the cons. Aim out V4. Set the far distance, and here's the final outcome. This thing is beautiful, has super low recoil, and honestly, what I was previously using with the silencer, it didn't compare. I say it didn't compare because this is actually fantastic long range with zero recoil. This is actually comparable to the ISO Hemlock in regards to low recoil. Now, the only downside is it's not as strong as the ISO Hemlock, but it's faster than the ISO Hemlock. So the people that actually like fast moving, like fast shooting guns, this is definitely the one for you. The Kastov 545 is a strong counter up close against the ISO Hemlock, but long range, I still feel like the ISO Hemlock will win. So even though this isn't an AR, I do want to show you guys the Sakin just because I feel like it's an amazing weapon, and it's most likely going to be meta in Season 4. So Polar Fire S for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. 20-inch Brune Silver Series for bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, and hip fire accuracy at the cost of aim down sight speed, movement speed, and hip recoil control. Brune Warrior LMG for aiming out stability, aim walking steadiness, recoil steadiness, and recoil stabilization at the cost of sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed, crouch movement speed, and aim walking speed. Trust me, this is the best one. Then we're going to put on the Aim Op V4 for precision sight, go to the far distance, and then the Stip 40 grip for recoil control at the cost of aiming stability. Change the aiming out stability at 0.42 inches and the recoil steadiness to 0.77 ounces, and this thing is absolutely wonderful. Now, even though the ADS is slow, as you guys see, this thing is just a no recoil machine. It takes no effort to use this weapon, and honestly, with the high damage output it gives, I'm surprised that other people don't use this. The fact of how high meta this thing is, and the amazing range, the low recoil, the high damage, it just makes a fantastic weapon overall. So I've advocated for this thing enough. I just highly suggest using it. So the last thing I do want to talk about is basically everything else that I use. Stun grenade, throwing knife, perk package is overkill, double time, fast hands, and high alert. Unless I'm using a single primary, which is tracker. Tracker is amazing to find your enemy. Double time, fast hands, and high alert for when people are behind you or your side and you just don't know. They're perfect for turning on the enemy.